Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Session on a Tuesday afternoon. Jana is back with me. Hey Jana, how you doing?
Hey Danny, how you doing? Good.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
you too. Do you want to give the audience a little bit of background on yourself, please?
Sure. I'm the owner of Wildly Translations, and we are the biggest Amazon dedicated translation agency out there with a team of 60 native translators. We love to help sellers expand to absolutely all international marketplaces on and off Amazon.
Cool. So today, let's talk about recent updates in Europe. We're going to go into translations and stuff, but coming off the pipe from you, we've seen Poland launch, Netherlands launch and stuff. What's going on out there for anyone who's thinking about entering the EU market? We'll get into the translations and keyword research and stuff in a bit, but what's going on in terms of these additional markets?
Right. So Amazon Netherlands has been quite slow and quiet. And I think this is also due to very poor results last year. Once PPC rolled out for the Netherlands, it was in December. It was, people saw some, changes in their sales, but a lot of sellers decided not to, launch the products in the Netherlands just because they really didn't have good results as expected. A lot of people invested time and money in that marketplace. It didn't get much in return. But starting in January 2021, Amazon has been a dominant marketplace in the Netherlands. So far, Bol has been very, very successful, and that was the most dominant marketplace in the Netherlands. But like Amazon took over, as soon as they kind of focused more on that marketplace, they really kind of nailed it, and they ranked as like marketplace number one. But when it comes to like sellers and their inquiries and stuff, we haven't seen a lot of sellers who were potentially interested in the marketplace. I think that's because of the poor results, as I said previously. And I don't know, I just would not recommend sellers experimenting with the Amazon Netherlands, especially because it's also a smaller country, it's a smaller marketplace. Maybe you have like a winning product, then you should maybe try to score it big over there. But there are many, there are better marketplaces in Europe than the Netherlands. So I would not suggest doing that. I know that last year I was talking about the Netherlands because I was really hoping that this marketplace is gonna, change and like offer some, increase in profit, like or in sales to the sellers, but that hasn't happened in that big extent. So I would not say go to Amazon Netherlands for sure. There's some other places where I would definitely recommend, but like Amazon Netherlands is not looking that good right now.
Okay, cool. In terms of translations, I mean, the common thing, and we've had it with clients at Databricks, etc., and I see it time and time again, and I always forewarn people, is product market fit to the territory, to the country. We'll get into keyword research at the moment. Quite often, lots of people will just dump their SKUs on other marketplaces. I always say to people, if you're going to do a launch in the US or the UK, wherever your home market is of choice, you've got to treat these other marketplaces the same. I know we've got Sleepy Spain, Little Italy, and things like that. We know that Germany's the second largest market behind like the US. But I think it's really important is that common thing I see is, let's say, selling in the US. And I always use this example, Taco Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a market for tacos. I don't expect people to go into that market. But culturally, people do eat tacos in the US on a Tuesday. Right, they've got a big Mexican contingent over there, etc. But doesn't work in Germany, doesn't work in the UK. And I like to use the other extreme, and I tell people don't fucking sell these. But umbrellas are ubiquitous. They're going to sell in every single marketplace because it's an everyday use. Because it generally rains in nearly every country in the world. So it's always coming down to slimming down the amount of products. Choose your markets wisely, and then go in. What do you say when you get someone turn up and go, "I got 1,500 SKUs"? And I want to spread this across Europe,
You know what's really interesting, like what we've noticed, like the toys category in the States and the toys, like, kids products mostly, they don't sell that well as they do in Germany. Like literally like in Germany, whichever seller went and had like toys category, especially like anything that has to do with like a glitter or like DIY kids for kids or some toys or like wooden toys especially, they are insane in Germany, and they're doing much better than they are in the States. And toys category, for instance, is like it's a bestseller like throughout the whole Europe, not just Germany. But for instance, like it's interesting that those are like toys, but they just don't sell that well in the US as they do in Germany. And we had some sellers that have had a bigger revenue in Germany than they've had in US, and they were already like 7-figure sellers there. So that's interesting. And kind of think of it, you're just like, what does it make a toy or like a toy product sell better in Germany than in the US? So there has to be something which is really specific about the marketplace that wants that, and in the States it's not that well, for instance. So that's pretty interesting. And I think there are like tons of categories like that, which you said, like don't sell Taco Tuesday in France because they don't get it, they don't understand. Don't sell the products which are bestsellers in the States necessarily in Europe. You have to do the product research for each market separately, and you really have to do that because it doesn't really matter, as I said, like if it's in the States, if it's like a big smashing hit, maybe people will hate it in Italy, or like Poland or something. You really have to reach out to, I don't know, like you can reach out to like native audience in like expat groups. You can ask people like, would you buy my product? Like, what do you think about my product? That is a very valuable content.
You can find this. Literally, you can find this out in 5-10 minutes just using brand analytics.
Yeah, exactly.
Select the marketplace, put the keywords in. Obviously, use Google Translate. I know it's not perfect, but it's going to be the closest you're going to get. And if you don't see any keywords return back in that brand analytics report, there's only 1 or 2 of them, and the frequency rate is poor, then don't sell that product in that market. But I think what happens is people get stuck. They send a container over, they load up the 3PL, and then before they know it, they've got all of these products launched into the marketplace. 10-minute job, just go through brand analytics and work out. And I've said this before, it won't be the same as say the US market, but any search term that does not appear outside of branded keywords, any search term that does not appear in the brand analytics report is probably less than 30 searches per day. And so that'll give you an indicator, because obviously with the third-party tools, you might be able to generate a list of 100 search terms, okay?
Yeah.
Which is going to give you search volume, but it doesn't reflect necessarily to sales.
Search volume. I just have to say something here. So I see sellers, and those like really big sellers, that only they rely on the search volume, and they don't rely on anything else. They don't combine it with brand analytics. They don't combine it with anything else. They don't understand the relevancy, the conversion rate, nothing. So they just look at search volume. So even though you have like this fantastic search volume word, how relevant is that, and how much does it convert? That's like the most important thing. Like how much money will this keyword bring you? Even though it's like 30,000 like a search volume, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you put it in the title that this will be highly clicking converting keyword. So a lot of sellers make mistake by only looking for search volume. And I know like when I talk to them, they're like, why did you use this keyword? Because, this is the search volume. And I think this is really important, and then you can just get into like this, uncomfortable correspondence, and you're like, it's fine, I'll do whatever you want, because you don't want to. It's not my product, it's their product. So of course I'm going to do what they ask me, but they would not get the results would not be that satisfying. Definitely.
Yeah. And the other thing to point out as well, a lot of people have the luxury, they're selling the US and then they come to the EU market, and the biggest fright that they get is pretty much there's no long tail. When I say there's no long tail, let's just say you're in a category and you've got 100 search terms that you're used to using. You've pulled those from your PPC campaigns, or maybe 50, 60. Let's narrow it down because it's got to have relative amount of sales associated to them. When you get to places like Germany and the UK, that shrinks by 70, 80%. Very rarely will you go to sleepy Spain. Don't expect to return 100 search terms for a certain product, even down to things like umbrellas. Now you have the permutation of umbrellas, which is the ones that, for what's the word for, like the parasol umbrellas. Like, so when you go out patio furniture, because there's different types of umbrellas. But if we go talk about the traditional umbrella that men and women carry around, in terms of, in that sense, then you're not going to get the same amount. And this is why I always say to people, go and have a look, run brand analytics in each of the markets, run the search terms, make sure they have the relevance to your product as well, and type. Especially, it starts to get tricky in places like Germany, because of the meanings behind some of the words will differ, and the dialect and everything else. I'm not very good with languages. This is where you kick in. But people
Yeah.
get undone with that quite often because the meaning behind a word isn't the same. But without going off the topic there, the key thing is, bear in mind, Europe, barely any long tail in comparison to the US. The smaller the market, go outside of Germany, that will drop as well. Again, go back, brand analytics report, wash everything that you've got in your brand analytics report against the third-party tools that you're using.
Yeah, I just wanted to just point out to one thing, and this is what I've talked to quite often, that when people use like Helium 10 for keyword research or any other tools, those tools, because long tail keywords basically mean that the keyword consists of 2 or more words, right? And so like these tools are automatically set to put word count as there was like number 2 there. So it means that they will only show the results of long tails that consist of two keywords, for instance, if you don't change that. And the problem is with the German language, also now with Dutch and with Swedish, because these languages have the same Germanic root, and that means that they have like this really big, chunky compound keywords. And these are going to be like one word. And with one word, like in German, like you can literally express like a whole sentence. And so like once you have like this word count set as number 2, you're not going to get like these compound words in your results. So what you want to do is like you want to go back and put like number 1 there, or whatever feature that the tool is giving you. Just like you have to have the one word result in your long tail keywords. Otherwise, you'll be missing out on a lot of really highly and relevant search volume keywords. And this is what we've seen happens all the time, because like literally like from like top 15 keywords which are relevant for your product, 3 or 4 are compound words, and you're not going to see them in the results if you keep doing it the same way. So that's really important, because those are like probably some high converting keywords, and your competitors will be ranked for that, and you're not. So that's something that's just set by default. People don't pay attention to that because people don't understand language, of course. And then you don't do a good job, or your VA doesn't do a good job with the keyword research.
Yeah, no, that's key. Excuse the pun. So talk to me about what's the general rule of thumb then? So people come to you in terms of how many normally listings realistically do they get in terms of being focused? I know you've got massive clients that send you 100 listings. That's the different ballpark. I'm talking about people coming straight from the US, fresh into Europe. What normally happens then? Do they handpick Germany and the UK and just go with that, or do they tend to come to you with each country, want 5 sets of translations as an example?
No, usually people, I mean, before Brexit, like people definitely did the UK because it was part of the pan-European program, so it was fine. But now, honestly, my UK team is doing nothing. And I was really, kind of shocked that that happened in that certain extent. But people don't want to go to the UK anymore, even though they have like US listings. They want to go to Germany first now, absolutely. I've seen an increase in Japan that was not there last year. And people now want to go to like, France, Spain, Italy. They want to do like everything together. They want to do more countries. They do the whole pan-European program, except Netherlands and Sweden. Not everybody wants to go there. So definitely Germany. And if you want to do the whole pan-European, they absolutely do the rest of the countries like Spain, France, Italy, and Italy. Yeah, that's it. And also what's very interesting, and we've seen that from our returning clients and also the bigger brands, everybody wants to go to Poland. So currently, like Poland is literally on fire. And like we've had sellers that translated like their whole catalog.
Well, in Poland, they've only got Allegro, isn't it? Allegro is
Yes, but Allegro, but Allegro is like a marketplace which is like in the top 10 worldwide marketplaces. It comes like right after Shopee and Tmall. Right. And there's like over like 12,000 online stores over there, and Allegro has 40 million visits per year. So that's huge. And like Poland, like even before Amazon came there, like Poland was like a center like for e-commerce. Like everybody had their like warehouses in Poland. And like Zalando, which is like a very famous marketplace in Germany, they also like expanded to Poland. And Poland is like a really cool country because like from warehouse in Poland, you can literally like ship out everything. It's like the heart of Europe. So it has always been involved in e-commerce. And now I think that people see the huge potential in that marketplace. It has millions, like I think it's like 20 million people live in Poland. That's a lot. It's like a really big country. and very big brands are interested in investing in Poland. So I would say, like, from all of these new and hot marketplaces in Europe, the Netherlands and Sweden, Poland is really, like, sky high, and then Netherlands and Sweden are somewhat like the same. I haven't seen anything amazing happening in Sweden, honestly. I know there's a warehouse in Eskilstuna, and hopefully they're going to start also sending the FBA, but so far we haven't had any special success like with anybody like selling there. It's also like still kind of the unknown, but like everybody definitely wants to go to Poland. So I would also suggest people, if you want to try out something new, you should definitely try out Poland when talking about Europe.
Yeah, I think also just a little tip for, and it keeps the timeline keeps getting shifted up. But if you're thinking of coming to Europe and you can delay a bit, maybe set up in the UK, sell there first. The reason I say that is because the pan EU, once VATMOS kicks in, I'm not sure legalities for US citizens, but I know that once VATMOS kicks in and that becomes a singular point of reference for VAT, then you haven't got 7 marketplaces to register for, which I think this should happen around June next year, but every year they seem to move the date. So if you are thinking of coming to Europe, Germany and UK are going to be generally your best options based on your own research. But yeah, if you can hold tight on the other markets, for instance, and wait for VATMOS, that could pay dividends as well, because it's a world of pain doing the 7 registrations and dealing with all that nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a big hassle. But what's really interesting is, like, for instance, like you could target, like, if you have like English listings, you can definitely target UAE, because like you can target expats, for instance. You don't need to translate that to Arabic, because usually your products would target expats, especially if you're selling something inside of the home decor category. Because people come and go, they change the apartments. Usually people rent apartments there which are empty, and you need like some extra furnishings, and the prices are not that competitive in Dubai. And if you can offer something which is going to be a little cheaper than whatever your competitor is selling, there should be a really huge market for you. And still, like, the home decor category still has like maybe like 4,000 or 5,000 products, and when you compare that to the US, like literally, like, they have like 30,000-40,000 just in home decor alone. So I think that, if you have a product for UAE, that could be potentially really interesting. Especially they also have FBA and everything. So
yeah. Cybe says, I don't even know what this is. Good afternoon, guys. There's a CEE program that's worth looking at. Do you know what that is?
No, I do not.
So give us a bit more specifics on that, and we'll see what we can do to help. So what are the key things? Let's talk about, I think last time you come on, we looked at some of the screw ups which we've seen with listings. Do you remember? That was what, I think it was last year now.
Maybe even more.
Yeah. So what else is going on at the moment? People to watch out for. Obviously, you can talk about don't go and use Fiverr. We've discussed all that kind of stuff. People know that quality is everything in terms of translation and the context to the culture of the market as well, and what works there. But other standouts for us before we wrap up the show.
I just think that the most important thing is for you to do keyword research properly, honestly, and to not only look for the search volume, because I've seen a lot of people like missing out and just using completely wrong keywords, even though they understand it in a different language. Search volume is not everything. And this is just what, and I just kind of feel that if there's a seller like from the US market or like from the UK market, just because you don't understand the language, you're just gonna do like a lousy keyword research, and you're gonna do like 10% of what you would do on your home marketplace, for instance. So I just think that this is something that is really important. Like, there are like relevancy results for like other marketplaces other than the States and UK, and this will also show a really good guideline of how to do that as well. Also, what I would always recommend is, like, you don't really need to use interpunction like in your bullets. You don't have to use the full stop or like exclamation point. I will also avoid using like emojis. I really don't like emojis in listings. What's also important is, like, you can still keep your caps lock in bullets. Your listings are not going to be taken down as they are in the States. Basically, like, your backends are very important, and don't duplicate whatever you're using in your listing. Don't duplicate that and use that in backends as well. So there's just like some basics really, but there are like tons of other strategies. And if you don't want to go like through brand analytics for relevancy for the product you're already using, there are also like tons of like Excel formulas you can use. Like Brandon Young has like Excel formula. We use it with a twist, so it's also cool. Like you can do all of these things yourself. You don't have to hire anyone if you don't want to. I know that a lot of sellers don't have a big team. They love to do things themselves. So, there are like so many things that you can do. And, like if anybody needs any help, I'm always available for a call. We do more than I think now that we do between like 3,000 and 4,000 listings every month. We
Wow.
see tons of stuff, like tons of categories, all possible situations, So if anybody needs help or anything, I'm happy to, just hop on a call and give them some help, because I know it's difficult when you don't understand a language. I don't speak all the languages in the world, but the principle is still going to be the same. You just have to understand some of the key differences between English and other languages. That's it. Like German has this compound words, French has the accents, and Spanish has the accents as well. And one interesting thing when it comes to like French and Spanish keywords is that, like, for instance, sometimes you'll get in the results, you're going to get like 2 words, which would not make sense without some prepositions, or pour, which means for, or de, which is an article. And a lot of people avoid that because they think that by using that, they will not be using that same keyword they got in the results. But actually, if you use, so Spanish and French have the de, pour, and le, like all the articles, and like with and without, you can still use those same keywords and they will still have the same results in your listing. They will still be ranked for that. And also, if you have like a couple of like really cool phrases, like for instance, like we like to use Frankenstein, like in Helium 10. What we like to do is like we take like the title from like, let's say 7-8 competitors, you put it in Frankenstein, and then you just you put like, we put a little tool to the search, and you remove the duplicates, and you have the results from each and every word is like a single line. And this is what you use. Like maybe you can put that in Scribble, and then you can use that to write your listing in the title and the bullets and stuff. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the whole long tail keyword, because you're going to have like 1 word per line. But if you use those like lines that you have, like let's say in the title or something in the bullet, they will form the long tail keywords as long as they make sense and they're like close to each other. So for instance, this is something also what we found very useful, and these will be highly relevant keywords, definitely. So this is something that's shown that it works. Sometimes the search volume does not correspond with this. Usually, in 80% of cases, I would say it does, but like those 20% are maybe the crucial ones that you'll be missing out on.
Cool. What's the best way that people can reach you?
So you guys can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn, or you can like our Facebook page, or drop me an email at Jana, that's Jana, at ylt-translations.com.
Cool. And I've got an announcement to make as well. We're still looking for an account manager at Databril. So effectively, we're looking to pay someone a finder's fee. So if you contact me, Danny, at databril.com, I'll give you more details. But yeah, we're trying to find a new account manager to work on the team, and there's a finder's fee of $1,500. So anyone listening out there who wants to recommend people, and obviously we'd have to sign them as a member of the team. But yeah, there's a $1,500 finder's fee to finding the right solution to the right person. I'll be back
Not
here
bad.
tomorrow, 4 p.m. as usual. Jana, thanks for coming in, and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Take care, guys.